In September of 2022, I reached out to the Ohio Nursing Board because I had obtained information from my mother that she had killed one of the patients that she was taking care of. My mother was employed by my Aunt Carolyn. My Aunt Carolyn is a registered nurse, and she started an off-the-books pay home health care agency, and her staff consisted of people who had no certifications or medical training, my mother being one of those people. Back probably June, July of 2022, my mom had informed me that she had, killed one of her patients. I looked at her and I said, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, I was administering IV meds and I forgot to clear the air bubbles out when I pushed the meds through and then my patient died." And I said, "What were you doing administering IV medication? You have no medical training. You're not a nurse. You barely have an associate's degree. What are you doing?" She said, "Well, Carolyn showed me how to do it. So I just am really upset that my patient died and I'm going to lose all that good pay and all that money." Hearing that, considering that my entire life I was witness to sadistic abuse and subjected to the abuse, physical abuse, psychological abuse by my mother since birth. You know, I have pictures of me beat up at 3 years old, and I remember when she punched me in the face at 3 years old. I mean, I was subjected to physical and psychological abuse daily. I went to school beat up. Children's services were called on her several times. She manipulated her way out of children's services multiple times. Narcissists and abusive people are very, very good at playing the victim and reversing the roles onto the victim. So as a consequence, she told Children's Services that I was getting beat up by neighborhood kids, not her, because I was deviant and a liar. And so they put me on medication, which then made it easier for her to abuse me. She would give me my meds for a certain amount of time, and then she would take the medication from me. Now, I'm 10 years old. I'm 10 years old, and I'd be on antidepressants for weeks, and then she would take the medication from me and withhold them, and then I would go through severe withdrawals, which then I'd go to the doctor, and it would seem like I had even more behavioral issues. I repeatedly throughout my life tried to explain that this woman was severely abusing me. No one ever believed me. To this day, if you try to hold my mother accountable for that abuse, she will deny it or minimize it and gaslight you and to make it seem like, oh, it wasn't that bad. If you were to say to her now, "Ma'am, did Children's Services get called on you for beating on your child? Did you send her to school beat up?" She'd say, "Well, it wasn't that bad." And of course, I've asked her, I'm like, Mom, you beat me up. Why did you lie to Children's Services? Why did you tell them that neighborhood kids were beating me up? She said, "Well, if I would have told them the truth, then I would have lost my job. And then I would have lost my house. And then where would you have lived? I can't afford to lose my job because you want to say something." And I told her, I said, "Or you could just not beat up on me, or you could not abuse me. You're a child abuser." And now I know that she's got a substitute teaching job at Toledo Public Schools, and she's one of the biggest child abusers I know. The day that she beat me up and attacked me and assaulted me on January 3rd in Wood County, we were discussing my book, which is on narcissism and narcissistic abuse. She knows what she is. She knows I know what she is, but she knows that I was so afraid that she would kill me or physically abuse me if I ever spoke up. That's how these people keep you silent. They keep you in fear. And the trauma bond is so intense because they keep you dependent on them in so many ways. Anyways, that day in the car, we were talking about my book, and I looked at her again and I was like, "Mom, you killed somebody." The day of my assault, I had brought up again about her killing the patient. I thought she was going to kill me while we were in the car. She started speeding, driving erratically. Narcissist and abusive people, if you are in a vehicle with them and they're driving, they will use that to control you and incite fear in you by making you think they're going to kill you and crash. It is absolutely horrifying. During that moment, she flipped into her other personality and turned into what seemed like a 6-year-old girl, and she started mocking me, sticking out her tongue at me, going, it was absolutely terrifying. She was driving erratically down State Route 6. I was like, oh my God, she is going to kill me. I just thought, oh my God, get me home. She was acting like she was going to hit me in the car, acting like she was going to crash us and kill me. Then obviously the assault took place once we got into my driveway, and I did call 911. But what you have to understand is that she let me know if I ever said anything, she would kill me. She would get away with it. And that is actually why she assaulted me that day. That is really why she attacked me. However, when the cops came, they didn't even believe me that she assaulted me. And I was so afraid to speak up and tell them she's a killer. Now you have to remember, several months ago, back in 2022, I anonymously reached out to the Ohio Nursing Board to let them know what happened. Now the Ohio Nursing Board is fully aware of who I am and what is going on, and that these people are killing patients, uncertified, untrained, running under the table home healthcare businesses, and my mom doesn't even care that she killed somebody. As a matter of fact, another one of her patients died because they did not take the proper measures, and the patient contracted COVID from my mom, and now he's dead. These people do not care. This is serious. I need protection, because the moment she finds out, she will try to kill me. She will protect her name at all cost. These people do not have any accountability, and they will do whatever they have to do to silence their targets. This is a serious matter. Please, I need some help. I need some assistance.